Question sticks in our minds. If every country is in debt, who is this debt owed to? Really, who is this mysterious creditor? So, let's talk about this in the simplest and most sincere way possible. Today, every country in the world is swimming in debt. The US has surpassed $38 trillion, the highest debt in its history. The European Union, $14 trillion. Japan, around $9 trillion. Even oil-rich countries are in debt. Even export giants like Germany and China are in debt. But here is the truly strange part. If everyone is in debt, who are they actually in debt to? This is where things get a bit complicated, because debt isn't just a burden as we assume. Today, the skeleton, the invisible framework of the modern world, is entirely built upon debt. Every war, every economic crisis, every boom, every bust. They all revolve around this debt system, and if you have the patience to follow the debt chain long enough, you eventually realize this. The world isn't actually in debt to anyone. It is in debt to itself. But this doesn't mean everyone benefits equally. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Total global debt has exceeded $315 trillion. That is 3 times larger than the global economy. So, how did we get here? To understand that, let's rewind to the beginning. Today's debt system wasn't born on Wall Street. It was born in a war. The year is 1694. England is at war with France. There is no money in the vault, no gold, and the treasury is scraping the bottom of the barrel. The king knocks on the merchant's door. "Lend me money so we can fight. In return, I will pay you continuous interest, and I will pay this interest from the taxes I collect in the future." To manage this arrangement, the Bank of England is established, and thus the modern debt system begins. The state learns to spend money it doesn't yet have, and the merchant buys a promise from the state. This becomes the first government bond. Later, France copies it, the Netherlands improves it, America uses it while winning its independence. After a while, debt becomes a sign of a reliable country, not a crisis. Countries that used to conquer land to extract gold now begin issuing bonds to earn interest. Let's fast forward to today. Debt is now the world's biggest export. The US is in debt. Japan is in debt. Every country is in debt. Banks lend money. Countries lend to each other. The citizen is both a debtor and a creditor. They pay taxes. Their pension fund buys bonds. Their bank deposit creates debt. So, who holds the end of the rope? Let's look at the US. Half of the US's $38 trillion debt is held by the public. 2/3 of this debt is held by American institutions, banks, funds, insurance companies, even the Federal Reserve. The remaining 1/3, roughly $9 trillion, is held by other countries, mostly Japan, then China, then the UK. So the saying, "the US owes China," is true, but it's only about 2% of the total. The rest? America is in debt to America. The state issues bonds. Banks buy them. The central bank sometimes buys them back and creates new dollars. The citizen pays taxes, and those taxes return as interest to the citizen's pension fund. So it is a giant mirror. This cycle isn't just in America, it's like this globally. Japan lends to the US. The US lends to Europe. Europe lends to developing countries. Developing countries collect reserves and buy bonds, effectively lending back to developed countries. This is a giant exchange of promises. Everyone relies on everyone else's debt, but control is not entirely with the states. The real power lies with the markets. Billion-dollar funds, hedge funds, pension funds, central banks. They decide which country gets to borrow cheaply and which one gets dragged into a crisis. When their confidence in a country drops, bond yields skyrocket. The currency collapses. Governments can fall. Democracy decides who will rule, but the markets decide who remains standing. Who is the most critical player? Central banks. They don't just manage debt. They produce it. When the FED buys a bond, new money is created in return. So, every dollar in circulation is actually the counterpart of a debt somewhere. There's no such thing as debt-free money. Every currency is a promise. This system runs on one single thing, trust. As long as the investor trusts that the government will pay the interest, the system works. But what if trust runs out? We saw what happened in the Greek crisis. Argentina went bankrupt multiple times. Sri Lanka collapsed. When trust is gone, the creditors become visible. The IMF, bondholders, rating agencies. But we've come to the most important part. In today's world, governments do not pay off debt. They don't even plan to pay it off. This isn't a conspiracy. This is how the system works. States issue new debt to pay off old debt. This is called refinancing. Investors don't expect repayment either. They